Despite recent narratives, Donald Trump is getting great news out of the key swing states. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and today we have to talk about the 2024 presidential election because Donald Trump just got great news, and I know, the past month or so, it seems like every day, on paper at least, Donald Trump receives bad news, whether it's the polling, whether it's the media, whatever. And people have been using that as proof that Donald Trump's had a very bad month and that he's on pace to lose in a landslide. Well, guess what? I think reality just hit these people right in the face in the last 5 hours. Because we just got massive legal victories out of Wisconsin and Michigan when it relates to ballot access. Because, well, look at that headline. Green Party's Jill Stein will remain on the Wisconsin ballot after court refuses to hear challenge. It is official. Barring something absolutely crazy from occurring, Jill Stein of the Green Party will be on the ballot in the key swing state of Wisconsin. You know, the same state that back in 2020 voted for Biden by only 20,000 votes. And if you included Jill Stein or some Green Party candidate, more than likely, Trump would have actually won Wisconsin back in 2020. That's why this is a big deal. We're not talking about some random third-party candidate that no one's ever heard about. This is Jill Stein, who may not get 10% of the vote, but more than likely, especially this cycle with what's happening within the Democrat Party over the war in Israel and other issues, Jill Stein could absolutely take a percent of the vote, which would be much more than Biden's margin of victory in 2020. This is a big deal. And even Democrats realized, oh crap, we have a problem here. And that's because Democrats were banking on the idea of, well, Jill Stein's a threat to us because she could take a lot of votes away from us. Not 500,000 votes out of Wisconsin, but even like 20 to 30,000 votes could be the difference between a Trump victory or a Harris victory. So if we keep her off the ballot, we will win. But guess what? That failed. She will, in fact, be on the ballot in the state of Wisconsin. By the way, isn't it ironic that the party of democracy put this much effort into kicking people off the ballots? Think about that for a second. The party of democracy, they're so democratic that they don't want their opponents on the ballot. So they try every legal loophole to kick them off the ballot. Whether it's Jill Stein, Cornell West, hell, RFK, when he was still in the race, they try to get his name off the ballot in New York. Not a swing state. That's a safe Democrat state that they were so worried about that they said, oh, no, he's not on the ballot. I'm sorry, he's kicked off the ballot for some horseshit excuse. Listen, in my opinion, ballot access laws in America suck. It should be simple. You should not have a system where, oh yeah, the Democrat Party, they can effectively decide your fate. That's a load of crap. It should be very simple to get on the ballot. But either way, what's important here is Jill Stein will be on the ballot in the state of Wisconsin. And if she just gets 1% of the vote, that's the difference between Trump and Biden's margin. Biden won it by 20,000 votes. If Jill Stein gets just 1%, you're talking about 30,000 votes. And I guarantee you, virtually every single one of those voters are Democrats. No way in hell is she going to win, 30,000 Republicans over. That's delusional. She might win like 1,000 at most. But the vast majority of the voters she's winning in a state like Wisconsin, they're Democrats. And people just forget that back in 2020, Democrats kicked the Green Party off the ballot in a state like Wisconsin, which you could argue that was the reason Trump lost the state of Wisconsin, because the Green Party was not on the ballot. That's a big deal. But now in 2024, Jill Stein is actually on the ballot. People can vote for her. And if she just gets 1% of the vote, well, there you go. Trump would win by default if she gets like 30,000 votes, and if we say nothing else changes about 2024 compared to 2020, that's a Trump victory. That's a big deal. But that's not the only legal victory of today. We just got a massive legal victory in the state of Michigan. This time it's Cornell West getting the victory. You know, the other progressive third-party candidate. Yeah, he's going to be on the ballot in the state of Michigan, at least for now. There's a possibility, even with Jill Stein, that he could still be kicked off the ballot. But as of now, the courts are saying, no, you're not off the ballot. You're going to be on the ballot come November. This is a big deal because just like Jill Stein, Cornell West is taking voters away from Harris. And we all know with Michigan, there's one city in particular that everyone's talking about. Dearborn, Michigan. And I guarantee you, Cornell West's entire campaign will be stationed out of Dearborn. Like, he might do events across the country, he already is, but I guarantee you, he's going to put so much effort into Dearborn that by default, he's just sucking up votes away from Harris. That's what's going to happen here. That's the problem for Democrats here. And with Michigan, you know, it wasn't as close as, say, Wisconsin was. But let's just say Trump is already doing 2 points better, okay, than 2020. Well, in that scenario, if Cornell West and Jill Stein combine for 2% of the vote, on paper, that's not a big deal, like, oh, whoop-de-doo, it's only 2% of the vote. But the more you think about it, oh, wait a minute. If they combine for just 2% of the vote, even in a state like Michigan, if Trump does even 1 point better than 2020, he would win Michigan in that scenario. That's all he has to do. That's why the ballot access stuff is a big deal. Because if you stack the ballot with people like Cornell West, Jill Stein, you know, the progressive candidates, and quite frankly, there aren't really any conservative third-party candidates this cycle. I can't think of any. Maybe the Constitution Party in Wisconsin, maybe. But outside of that, they really don't get much support at all. So outside of that, you have a bunch of left-leaning third-party candidates running for president. Hell, even the Libertarian is a left-leaning Libertarian. Now do you see why this is a big deal and why the Harris campaign, they're completely panicking right now? Hell, there were internal polls leaked just today that had Harris slightly ahead in Michigan and Wisconsin, but down in Pennsylvania. And let's just assume that that didn't include RFK dropping out. That doesn't include Jill Stein or Cornell West being on the ballot. Well, do some basic math. If she's slightly ahead in Wisconsin and Michigan, without those two on the ballot, and with RFK, you know, now dropping out and back in Trump, there's a good chance that the internals in a week or so, they probably would show a Trump +2 in Michigan, Trump +1 in Wisconsin, just an example. Again, we got to see what happens, because there's a possibility that Cornell West and Jill Stein, they could technically be kicked off the ballot for some horseshit reason. But as of now, I don't think it's going to happen. These were big legal wins for both Jill Stein and Cornell West, to a point where it could still happen where Jill Stein's kicked off the ballot in Wisconsin because of some horseshit reason, like, oh, she got 50,000 signatures, but only one of them is valid, or something like that. That could still happen. That's entirely possible. I am not denying that. There are corrupt judges out there that will pull crap like that. But as of now, I don't think it occurs. I don't think you will see either of them kicked off the ballot in these respective states. But of all the news that occurred today, the biggest one actually came from the Trump campaign. Like, yeah, the ballot access stuff is big news, where Cornell West is going to take votes away from Harris and he's on the ballot. Same thing with Jill Stein. But I would argue these pale in comparison to what the Trump campaign announced today. Tulsi Gabbard has officially endorsed Donald Trump, a former Democrat congresswoman, not from 30 years ago. From 4 years ago, she was a Democratic congresswoman from Hawaii that in recent years has become more and more of an independent. Well, she officially endorsed Donald Trump for president today. Now, obviously, this endorsement isn't as big as RFK's, because RFK had millions of supporters. He was getting 4 to 5% in most states. Obviously, his endorsement is much more impactful than Tulsi Gabbard's, because, yeah, Tulsi Gabbard, there are some Democrats that still like her even after she bailed from the party. But RFK obviously had much higher name recognition. He had millions of supporters. That's why his endorsement is much bigger than Gabbard's. But I think Tulsi Gabbard's endorsement helps reinforce a brand new message the Trump campaign has been trying to push for about a month or so. But in recent days, they've been putting a lot of effort into the idea of unity. Like, okay, we may disagree on many issues, like abortion, like even immigration. But on the core issues that matter to all Americans, like actual freedom, like the free speech, medical freedoms, all of that, most people agree on those issues. Common sense stuff. Everyone agrees to freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the Second Amendment. That's what people agree upon. Like, that's obvious. And you have a Democrat like Tulsi Gabbard, who was not a centrist on a lot of issues. Like, she was good on foreign policy especially, but on stuff like healthcare, just economic issues in general, when she was in Congress, yeah, she was to the left. But this reinforces the idea that Trump is not running just as a Republican. He is running to unite America. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, a liberal, a Republican, conservative, independent, moderate. It doesn't really matter. If you stand for the basic principles of America, like Trump is trying to push for, well, you're welcome to join the campaign. We may disagree, which Trump and RFK, they disagree on a lot of stuff. Same thing with Tulsi. There's a lot of disagreements with them. But at the bare minimum, they agree on the core issues that really matter. The future of America, the freedom of speech. That's what they agree upon. And that's why I think this was a genius idea by the Trump campaign. It's smart. Because Tulsi Gabbard, yeah, she's not as well known as RFK, obviously, but Tulsi Gabbard appeals to a very unique type of Democrat that in recent years, they might have become less interested in the party, whether it's them becoming insane on virtually every social issue, whether it's them becoming anti-free speech, pro-war, any of that stuff. There are a bunch of Democrats that like Tulsi Gabbard and agree with her on a lot of stuff. And if they see her backing Trump, not all of them are going to vote for the guy, but they may think, well, hold on. I disagree with Trump on a lot of issues, but if Tulsi Gabbard and RFK are backing him and they give really good reasons as to why they're backing him, well, maybe they're right. Maybe it's better off just supporting Trump, who you may disagree with on certain issues, than backing Kamala Harris, where you know for a fact, if you elect her, stuff like freedom of speech could be at risk. And that's why I think it's smart. Yes, Tulsi Gabbard isn't a conservative, I get that. But she has a very unique appeal to certain voters that if Trump gets their support, well, at that point, Kamala Harris just can't win. I'm not saying it's a guarantee Harris loses because of Tulsi Gabbard or RFK's endorsement of Trump, but it might be enough for even just a couple Democrats here and there to think to themselves, well, you know, I disagree with Trump on a lot of stuff, but the party has completely lost its freaking mind in recent years, and Kamala Harris is a much bigger threat than Donald Trump is. So you know what? Screw it. Tulsi and RFK, they're right. I'm backing him. I'm not saying that's going to be like half of Democrats, but even if it's just 5%, if just 5% of Democrats say that, Harris can't win. In that scenario, I don't see a pathway for her. But anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.